Well, it's the morning after the night before. UFC 200 is over, and what a crazy week it's been. I've just driven down the Las Vegas Strip and there are still celebrations going on up and down, even though the sun's coming up. And I'm here at one of my favourite breakfast spots in town, the Peppermill, 24-hour-a-day diner, and as you can see, it's typical Las Vegas. I'm going to tell you about my week. It's been a crazy week and I've had a lot of good highlights, so I want to start with day one and talk you through all the best parts. Day one, we arrived in Las Vegas, and it was a pretty special day for the United States because it was the 4th of July, so there were a lot of celebrations going on up and down the Strip. But my favourite moment of the day was the Ultimate Fighter house with Forrest Griffin. What an entertaining guy, and to share in some of those stories about his time there was pretty special. I remember that season well, and I remember being very inspired by that final fight between Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner. Day two, we kicked off with the IMAF tournament at the Expo, and this was really interesting for me because this is all the amateur fighters coming into town to compete with each other in a massive international tournament. We had over 30 countries competing, 7 or 8 fighters per country, and to see the talent from around the world competing at the same space and the same stage was really special. And it's really good to see the UFC becoming invested in these lower level amateur fighters that are obviously going to grow up to become UFC fighters at some point in the future, and there was a lot of talent on show that day. And then later in the day, we were at the gym with Misha Tate and Gray Maynard and my old coach, Jimmy Gifford. And it was really good to see them move around the mats and just kind of get that last little sweat out before they step into the octagon on fight night.
What's up, everybody? Good afternoon!
Day three was the UFC 200 press conference, and our last opportunity to see these fighters interact with each other before they step on the scales and make their weight official for the fight night.
I'm gonna fight the champion. This Misha is the best. I'm gonna beat her.
Then we saw a lot of people backstage that I was really excited to bump into. Obviously Michael Bisping, the new British champion, and a whole selection of other fighters that were there to see the press conference and see these guys at UFC 200. After that, we headed over to Red Rock Casino. We headed over to the Fight Pass party and we saw those UFC fanatics contest against each other to see if we can find the most fanatical UFC fan in the country.
Go, 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 go!
Unfortunately though, after the party, we walked into the breaking news of Jon Jones being removed from the card due to the USDA violation. That was very unfortunate. A lot of people were disappointed and it pretty much broke the internet. There was a lot of uncertainty at the end of the day and everyone was pretty eager to get to bed and wake up the next day to see how the UFC had resolved this situation. Day four was the weigh-ins for the Ultimate Fighter finale, and the tensions were evident between the two main event fighters, Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Claudia Gadelha. A lot of build-up going into that one. The weigh-ins were really exciting. We got the stare down from Joanna where she drops down and looks up into her opponent to make sure she gets eye contact. I was so excited about that fight and the weigh-ins lived up to my expectations. Straight after the weigh-ins, we moved over to the arena to the MGM Grand to watch the fight night between defending champion Rafael dos Anjos and challenger Eddie Alvarez. And what a fight it was as well. A first round stoppage for the new champion Eddie Alvarez. It was great to see Eddie Alvarez backstage celebrating with his new title and with his friends and family, but a personal highlight for me was talking to his coach Mark Henry, who paid me a massive compliment telling me that he watched my analysis videos of the event and I'd seen the same things as he had, and their game plan was pretty much the same thing that I'd picked out. So for me that was a massive compliment as an analyst.
That means a lot, man. That means a lot.
Our game plan was your game plan. Because that's what it gave Eddie confidence. So your thing, I said, you want to have confidence? I said, here, listen to this. You know how many other guys, no one else I check out? Nobody.
Is that right?
Yeah, check out this.
And then just before leaving the arena, I managed to catch the press conference on a monitor backstage where I saw the announcement of Anderson Silva stepping in as a replacement for Jon Jones.
I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am. I was disappointed when Jon Jones was pulled from the card, but to replace him with Anderson Silva. Well played, Dana White. Well played for you.
Day 5 marked the beginning of the Fan Expo, which gave me an opportunity to meet a lot of other fighters and to meet loads and loads of fans that had come into town to take part in International Fight Week and watch the fights. Then it was time to head over to the T-Mobile Arena to watch the weigh-ins for UFC 200, and the turnout was amazing. There were so many fans in town ready to see these fighters step on the scales. And then of course, the end of the day was the Ultimate Fighter finale, and an amazing main event between the defending champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Claudia Gadelha. The emotion was evident backstage, and as Joanna came back and met her family, you could really see how much it meant to her that she'd retained a belt. Claudia was a fantastic challenger, but Joanna is one of the best champions that we've ever had in the UFC.
Congratulations, Joanna. Fantastic fight. Really, congratulations.
Day 6 was an early start. We had the Ultiman 5K, which was great to see all those UFC fans getting up bright and early in Las Vegas and getting out and doing some running. After that, I headed over to the Fan Expo to meet some more fans, and then obviously it was time to get over to the T-Mobile Arena for the big event, UFC 200. There were some really close bouts like the Jose Aldo-Frankie Edgar fight for the interim featherweight title. The notorious Conor McGregor was standing octagon side paying close attention to that one. Brock Lesnar looked amazing, what an interesting addition he is to the heavyweight division, and we also have a new women's bantamweight champion in Amanda Nunes, who came out and starched the competition with a really impressive performance. It was the perfect event to cap off an amazing week in Las Vegas and International Fight Week. It lived up to all the expectations, and I cannot wait for the next one. Well, that's my Vegas trip coming to an end. It's been amazing, it's been exhausting, but what a great week we've had. Thank you for joining me. It's been an honor to be your guide, and I'll see you on the next adventure.